Welcome back to the Wrestling City Podcast. I'm Taylor,
And I'm Ryler.
and another crazy week it was for the WWE. It's just ever since I guess the Royal Rumble or before that, it's just been huge weeks leading
Yeah,
up to WrestleMania.
yeah, just about ever since we started this podcast, it seems like every week. I guess when we first started a few weeks ago, we had all the stuff going on with Rock first returning, and it seems like every week since then has been some sort of crazy build onto it. Like last week, we were mainly talking about the press conference, all that
Mm.
stuff. But this week we have, a few more new things, a few more important additions to this. So we will be covering all the major stuff for Raw, all the major stuff for SmackDown. There was a handful of stuff to cover for Raw, but most of the stuff this week is going to be on SmackDown.
Yeah, I mean, which you would think there'd be more stuff to cover on Raw since it is the longer show. It's 3 hours compared to SmackDown only 2 hours. But I mean, it's been like for a long time now. It's just like SmackDown is like the show, like
Yeah, I mean,
the
SmackDown just
flagship show.
Yeah, since it's less hours, it has less of those unimportant filler matches, Like
Hmm.
we had that Becky segment this week. We had JD McDonough versus R-Truth, and that's okay, but there's more matches just to fill time, and SmackDown has less of that. It has the more important required type stuff. So yeah, it's like every week SmackDown's a more important one.
Yeah, I guess we'll get right into Monday Night Raw. So we are officially, as we're recording this right now, 1 week from the Elimination Chamber, our last stop before we are in WrestleMania. And we had a few qualifier matches for each of the Elimination Chamber matches that will be taking place next week. But we kicked off Monday Night Raw with a tag team match. It was the New Day and Jey Uso versus the Imperium, and the New Day and Jey Uso this picked up the win in this one. It was a really fun match. I really enjoyed it. I think the highlight for me from this match was it was Gunther had, I can't remember which one of them it was, of the New Day, in like a Boston Crab, and then Jey Uso just walked up in the ring and just slapped him right across the face.
I did not get to see that part. I did see, so none of these been very busy the past few weeks, admittedly. I work on Friday, so I'm not able to see SmackDowns live either. So usually after these events, I look at the results, look over Twitter, Instagram, whatnot, sometimes Bleacher Report. So I did not get to see these exact highlights, but I did see that people were saying it was a pretty good match. And with
Mhm.
New Day and Jey Uso versus Imperium, I mean, it has to be an okay match. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think I am glad to see that New Day's finally starting to. It seems like ever since Big E left, they have kind of just been in a rut, not able to really find their footing or pick up many impressive wins since then. So seeing them
Hmm.
get some momentum by defeating Imperium, even if it isn't obviously like Gunther didn't get pinned, but still seeing them get a win over Imperium, yeah, I think that was the best decision.
Yeah, that would lead to a match next week for the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther versus Jey Uso. I think that'll be a good one for
Yes, I'm
sure. I'm
excited to see
looking
that
forward to that
match.
one.
I mean, obviously, we know who's gonna win most likely. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
Jey Uso, I guess he technically has a chance. You can't completely rule him out. But, I mean, we can just most likely say that Gunther's going to retain the title next week. But still seeing the match, seeing Jey Uso
Hmm.
get that shot, I think is fantastic. I mean,
Oh yeah.
all this stuff, I think eventually they're gonna wrap around and, bring Jey Uso back into the Bloodline storyline when they're wrapping it up more. I don't know if that's going to be
Hmm.
after WrestleMania or when that time frame is going to be, but he's kind of just doing side quest on Raw right now. And seeing him get a shot at the IC title, that's yeah, basically the best thing they can do with him right now.
Yeah, because right around when the bloodline like split up back last summer, a lot of people thought that we could see Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso at WrestleMania this year, but we haven't seen much involvement between those two since the summer. I mean, they had their moment in their Royal Rumble, but I mean, honestly, maybe you could have Jimmy Uso interfere in the match next week. Maybe
Yeah, I
cost
mean
Jey
they
Uso the
could.
match.
If they were to do Jay versus Jimmy Uso at WrestleMania, they would definitely need to start building it, sooner rather than later. So adding
Yeah.
something like that, yeah, that would be cool. It would continue to it seems like the brand split's already kind of being lessened a little bit. I mean,
Hmm.
we're talking about that, right after this, but LA Knight was on Raw, usually he's on SmackDown. So
Yeah. And Bobby Lashley was on Raw too.
yeah, yeah. So I guess it's already kind of been lessened already, but
Hmm.
that would still they could still work something out when it comes to the general managers, a trade or something like that. And
Yeah.
yeah, they could do something like that because I do still want to see Jay versus Jimmy at WrestleMania. I would love to see that.
Yeah, I would too. But yeah, that and there's just a few weeks left, so if they want to do that, then they got to get on that soon.
Yep, yeah, they do.
But so after that, we had the more qualifying matches. Bobby Lashley took on Bronson Reed. Now, I kind of wanted to see Bronson Reed win this one just because, he's from Australia. That's where Elimination Chamber's taking place. But Bobby Lashley ended up picking up the win in this one. So Bobby Lashley will be heading to the chamber.
Yeah, and I do like Bronson Reed. I appreciate him for his work. I do remember in NXT when he was, I think that was 2021, I want to say, he
Hmm.
was NXT North American champion. But ever since he's been on the main roster, I just really he just hasn't been clicking with me. I don't know. There's just something that seems to be missing. And I don't know if it's his booking, if it's his he's been in all these matches where he's gotten these wins, whatnot, built up his momentum, but I don't think he's been in a storyline that where he's gotten the opportunity to showcase his personality enough. And so
Yeah.
I wasn't really rooting for him that much. I mean, yeah, it could have gone either way, but I really like Bobby Lashley.
Hmm.
And I was glad to see that he got the win. I think it is gonna makes the chamber a more stacked lineup of people for sure. And the fact that Bobby Lashley, he's a little bit older now. I don't know how old he is, but he's like in his 40s at this point. He's like 42 or 43 or something. And so
Yeah.
I want him to get these chances while he can. While Bronson Reed
Hmm.
is a bit younger, I also don't know how old he is either, but he can recover from this. It's not going to be, the
Yeah.
end of the world. He just takes this loss now and then, yeah. But him losing in where he would be competing in his hometown, yeah, I thought that was still a little crazy, though. I did expect Bronson Reed to win.
Yeah. I mean, I forgot all about that he was from Australia until I saw something about it on social media, like right before the show Monday night. And so, but yeah, Bobby Lashley moved on. LA Knight is also going to be in the chamber match. He
LA Knight.
defeated Ivar, the megastar, is
Yeah.
heading to the elimination chamber match. What do you
Yeah.
think of? You didn't get to see much of Raw, right?
No, I didn't. So I do, I understand what they're doing with Ivar because if I'm not mistaken, Eric is out with an injury. So they're just kind of trying to continue their character, give him some singles matches, give him some ring time. But
Hmm.
Obviously, I don't think it's clicked with many people. I mean, he's had some good matches, but LA Knight was the obvious. He's not as over as he was in like June of last year, I wouldn't say, but still seeing him get into the chamber, it's a well-deserved opportunity. I think he's I mean, I don't think he's gonna win, but still seeing him get put into the match reflects how WWE values him, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, they're doing a good job keeping up with his momentum with everything. So I think this is a good spot for him. Honestly, I mean, obviously, I don't think he's gonna win, but I mean, I think he'll put on a good showing for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I think he was a good addition to, like I said, just make the lineup more impressive because it's really I guess he's technically yeah, he's just about the weakest name in there, and even then that's saying something because he's still somebody that a certain portion of the audience is going to be rooting for. So, yeah, I think it was a good decision.
Yeah, I do too. We also had the women qualifiers matches took place tonight. It was Liv Morgan and she defeated Zoe Stark.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
I
whatever,
mean,
I guess.
yeah, I guess so. I mean, I'm a fan of Liv Morgan, but you know,
Like this was so during Raw, I got to watch like the second half of the show, and this was a
hmm
match I came back during, and I watched it. It was an okay match, but obviously it's kind of hard as a wrestling fan to watch it and still be invested in the match when you know that the one person's gonna win. Because it's like every
yeah,
time Zoe Stark had a few, I don't remember the exact moments, but she did have a few moments where it was a close, like, kick out at the very end of two. But when
hmm
you know that she's not gonna win, it was kind of like, let's just get to the point where Liv gets the win
yeah,
and is officially declared for the chamber. So they made the right decision. I'm happy to see Liv Morgan in it. And yeah, I mean, that's my thoughts on that.
yeah. I'm not sure she will win it. I mean, I mean, it'd be a good choice just with everything that's gone on, between her and Rhea Ripley in the past. But I don't know. We'll have to see though. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think she's a good addition to this match. So in that match, you've had Bianca, Becky, and I think Liv Morgan at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. So far.
Yeah, and then when they found out the other two Friday night, and then next Monday there will be a last chance battle royal, and whoever wins that will be the sixth person added to the elimination chamber match. So
Yeah.
uh, after that, I guess we could get to the Cody Rhodes promo. He talked about everything that took place at the press conference Saturday, not Saturday, but last Thursday. And I really, one of the most enjoyable parts from this promo was he was talking about, he showed the clip where The Rock said that all the Cody crybabies can take their
Yeah.
chicken nuggets and shove them up their ass. And I like how he afterwards he was like, "So what am I supposed to do with those chicken nuggets?" And I like how he looks over at Pat McAfee on commentary, and Pat's kind of quietly saying, "I think you're supposed to, put them up put them up your ass." So,
Yeah.
but
Cody always cuts great promos. I mean, even if it's a week like this where it's not as much with storyline progression, kind of just, I guess, summarizing what happened the week before. He always is, yeah, pretty entertaining on the mic. Always starting with, what is it? So, what do you guys want to talk about?
yeah, yeah, and he talked about The Rock slapping him across the face, and he said that he's going to hit him right back. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah, finally, Rhodes not looking like a little cuck, just going back and,
Yeah.
you know, winning the Rumble and being like, "Oh, I want to face you, Roman," and then Rock
Hmm.
returns and he's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. You can have it." You know, they're
Yeah.
finally starting to book him to have a little bit of where he actually is standing up for himself, not just taking that back seat. So I did like that addition, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I did too. And then I thought the promo was going to end right there, but
Hmm.
Seth Rollins comes out and Cody's just like, I mean, here we go again, I guess. But Seth Rollins pretty much just tells Cody Rhodes you're welcome for having his back at the press conference, and he just starts talking about like what happens if you don't beat Roman this year, because I'm sure Cody knows if he can't get the job done, I mean, more power for Roman, less time he's going to show up, less title defenses. So, I
Yeah,
mean, Cody's
and
got to get the story done.
yep, yes, he does. So Rollins, when he was talking, he was kind of making hints about. So he basically said that Roman Reigns has evolved from what he used to be. He's changed, and that he kind of had a part in doing that because when he, put the chair in the back of I guess it was Roman, turned on them,
Hmm.
broke up the shield, but he still offered that like Rhodes could change this. He could still finish his story. And if he wants to, what did he say exactly? He said he'll be Cody Rhodes' shield. And obviously insinuation on the Shield in the past. And I did
Hmm.
notice though, one thing everybody was talking about on Twitter and Instagram is that during this, they did a little recap promo of this segment a few days later, and they were doing like flashbacks while Rollins was talking about the Shield, and they were like intentionally, I don't know if you saw this or not, like going around Ambrose, and it was kind of funny. I mean, I get why legally, but if you
Yeah.
really look at the promo, it's like all the stuff that happened, like when they put The Rock through the announcers table at like back in I think it was 2013 or something like that, or where
Hmm.
they would do their crowd entrance every week. They like intentionally zoom in this super small frame that just shows Rollins and Reigns in it. So I
Oh,
do think
dang. I didn't even see that.
it sucks that they can't fully tell the story of the Shield. They're kind of just, pulling a Chris Benoit essentially. They can't
Yeah.
they can't mention Ambrose for legal reasons. So I think it's a little half-baked kind of mentioning it, but I do think it's worth it to add to the story, especially since Rollins and Rhodes are you know, forming to potentially have a tag match at WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, this is likely setting up a tag match at WrestleMania between Rollins and Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns. But
Yeah.
and then because later in the week, WWE announced on their social media that Grayson Waller will do the Grayson Waller effect at the Chamber, and he will have Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes as guests on there. So if I had to guess, I would think they're going to probably set up a tag team match that night because I know right before Rollins left the ring Monday night, he told Cody to think about it. So,
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's what they're building to. I hope that it's just night one and they do something else for night two. I mean, we expanded on this a little bit in the last podcast episode, but
mhm,
basically, yeah, I want to see the tag match for night one. That would be fantastic. And then,
mhm.
we get what we want. We get Rhodes versus Reigns night two. I don't know exactly what The Rock would do. Maybe he could be like a special guest or be ringside or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
but I think that's how things are gonna work, honestly. I don't They could go a lot of ways with this, honestly, but that's I think the way I would prefer to see, and it seems like that's what they're going to.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people thought they could do this at the Elimination Chamber, I mean, maybe they could. Maybe like Rock and Roman can like come out some at some point during that segment, but I know Roman Reigns isn't scheduled. Like he isn't being advertised for the Elimination Chamber. So I guess I mean if you're going to do it, I mean you got to do it night one.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the chamber now it's too late, you know. I think they would have
Hmm.
announced it already if it was at the chamber, but I mean, it's still a good direction. I'm glad that a lot of people say that they didn't pivot, like this was their plan all along, but they wouldn't have done that SmackDown segment with Rhodes saying not at WrestleMania if they didn't have a plan and then changed from it once they got that reaction. Because now they're just not acknowledging that like at all. So yeah, I'm glad to see that they're at least changing plans to fit what the fans want, though. And a tag match would be a great way to fit that all in.
Yeah, yeah, it would for sure. It's crazy because we always talk about like if this was a pivot, and I wonder like how all of this would be going on right now if like CM Punk like never got hurt. Like
Yeah,
would Rollins like be involved in this like in any way? I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean,
yeah.
I feel like he would be involved in some ways, but I don't think he'd be involved as much as he is right now. But definitely when Punk got hurt, that kind of just
Altered everything. Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
had to change a bunch of stuff. I mean, Rollins would obviously had to announce that he had some sort of injury. Luckily, that hasn't taken him out of WrestleMania. But
Hmm.
yeah, this Punk thing has thrown everything. You know, they've had to start all of these new storylines or alter them, weave them together to make everything work with Rollins still being able to do something at WrestleMania. So seeing him in this, yeah, I wonder how it would have went without it, but guess we'll never know.
Yeah. But so after that, we had, I guess we can move on to the main event for Monday Night Raw. It was Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. And like, this is a match that, I mean, both of these guys needed this win because Nakamura has been kind of on a losing streak with all those matches with Cody Rhodes. Sami Zayn's been on a losing streak as well. He lost to Drew McIntyre a couple weeks ago on Raw. Then he loses to Randy Orton in the qualifiers match last Friday. But Nakamura picked up the win, but he had some help. Drew McIntyre would come out to the ring and pretty much distract Sami Zayn, which allowed Nakamura to hit the Kinshasa for the victory.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Like you said, they both were on a loss or a losing streak.
Hmm.
They both needed a win, so it was kind of a weird choice because when you're in that situation, you're kind of booking yourself into a corner because both of them, somebody has to take the loss unless they can, I guess they technically could have done like a DQ finish or something, but we're not in the Vince era of booking anymore, so DQ
Yeah.
finishes for main events don't really happen like they used to. Uh, so I guess they still made Zayn look okay because he obviously didn't lose cleanly. He had Drew McIntyre distract him, and that's what gave Nakamura the win. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a bit biased. Like I'm a huge Sami Zayn fan. Seeing him take yet another loss, I was like, dang. Like, a year ago he was in the bloodline. Well, I guess maybe not a year ago at this point, but around a year ago, he turned on the bloodline. And then, yeah, this
Hmm.
time last year, he was gearing up for his match against Roman Reigns at the main event of Elimination Chamber for the
Yeah.
WWE Universal Championship. And then fast forward a month later, returns, loses to McIntyre, loses to Randy Orton, loses to Nakamura. And it's just he can't even qualify for the chamber match. So it's I don't know. They have plenty of time to turn this around. I mean, like I said, a bunch was different a year ago, so
Hmm.
things could change in between now and a year later. But I thought it was sad to see, and I don't like Nakamura that much, to be honest. So
Yeah, me neither.
yeah, I thought it was a little sad.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but it looks like the direction they're going in with Sami Zayn, it looks like they're going into that direction where like he's having to like find his way any way he can into the WrestleMania card this year. And we were talking about this a couple of nights ago, and I'd mentioned that you could do like I really think they're still going to do the Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and Sami Zayn match at WrestleMania. And you were talking to me, you were like, "Well, why would they do that?" You know, Sami's been losing so much. But I mean, if you listen to like the promos that
hmm
Sami's cutting, and then Drew's always mentioning Sami, so I really think they can go in that direction.
Yeah, they're definitely planting seeds towards it. I just, from a logical perspective, I'm just like, he hasn't done anything to earn it. I mean, we were just going over it a
Yeah,
few. I mean, this was before we started the podcast, but all the stuff with gender facing Rollins, and I guess it was Hook on AEW or whatever, but it was discussing earning title shots, and I think it's just Zayn will have to do something like maybe face Drew in a match to be able to
yeah,
fit into it, or like or do something. Or knowing how WWE books nowadays, they might just do a main event type match, like a no disqualification match a few weeks before WrestleMania, and they do Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn. Drew gets the win, so then it's just Rollins and Drew McIntyre at Mania. But they could still go with the triple threat. I mean, it's just Zayn is going to have to do something besides losing every week and Jen just cutting a promo next week being like, oh, I'm going to come back, whatever, the underdog type of promo, and then losing again. So,
yeah. I mean, if they don't put him in the match at WrestleMania or anything, I mean, the Money in the Bank's in his home country this year.
yeah,
It's in
yeah.
Toronto, so I mean, you could see him win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I guess now there's a World Heavyweight Championship. It's just we've gotten to the point in the past few years where we've gotten Money in the Bank winners, and then once they get them, it's almost like now what? Like we're having this
Yeah,
issue right now with Damian Priest, where it's like he is Mr. Money in the Bank, but you can't really see the perfect time before his contract expires. I think it's like a year. Uh, so I don't know if Sami Zayn would be in that same position. Obviously, we're just talking about hypotheticals, so it's not, but yeah, that would for sure be interesting to see what they could do. Because I don't think he would win, obviously, like beat Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes or whoever has that title during the time. But the World
mhm.
Heavyweight Championship, yeah, it's possible.
Yeah. But I mean, there's a long way to go before we get there to the
Yeah,
Money
yeah.
in the Bank. So, I guess that pretty much does it for Raw. So we
Yeah,
can
yeah.
move to SmackDown, and we kicked off SmackDown with more qualifying matches for the men's elimination chamber match, and it was Kevin Owens defeated Dirty Dominic Mysterio.
Yep. I mean, I'm glad to see Kevin Owens in it. Obviously,
Yeah,
Dominic
I am too.
Mysterio has been, doing what he does usually, getting great heel heat, just doing his stuff. I didn't expect him to win because I didn't really see Dominic being in the Elimination Chamber,
Yeah.
or going on to face Rollins at WrestleMania, but
Hmm.
it still made for a good opponent. And seeing Kevin Owens win was for sure the best choice. I don't think Kevin Owens is going to win either, but like I said with the other ones, it's a great addition to make it a stack list.
Yeah. Dominic tried to get some help from R Truth. He tried to get R Truth to hand him a chair, but instead R-Truth grabs the chair and then just decided to open it up and sit in it, and then that allowed Kevin Owens to hit the stunner for the victory. One thing about Dominic Mysterio is I really wish he would stop using the 619
Yeah, that's fair enough.
because he did one last night and it was very weak. It didn't look good at all. So
Yeah,
mm,
I don't know what finisher they would do instead, but yeah, I mean that does make sense, especially since he doesn't he what do you like his deadbeat dad or whatever. I guess it's just to
yeah,
use it as heat, like use his finisher, yeah, I guess just as heel heat. But yeah, he definitely could. Adding a new finisher would help for sure.
yeah. I mean, he could stick to the frog splash.
Yeah, I mean, even besides the frog splash, there's still a bunch of options. It's just we haven't seen many other alternatives.
Mm-mm. But after that, you had Logan Paul, the United States champion, is heading to Australia to compete in the men's chamber match. He defeated the Miz. I
The
mean,
Miz just taking L after L. He continues
yeah,
to
yeah.
kill. Uh, yeah, I mean, I guess I didn't really expect like when this chamber was initially announced, I didn't really see Logan Paul entering it because
Hmm.
just because a celebrity entering the chamber is a little bit weird, but Logan Paul's
And he's also the, I mean, he's also the United States champion. So I
yeah, that's what
figured,
else I was gonna say. Yeah, he's already a champion, but we've seen that a few times where a champion has
mhm.
started competing for the major, the world title, but he's gotten to the point now where he's gone past just celebrity in WWE status. I mean, he still is, but he's proven himself. So I
Yeah,
think him in the chamber ultimately is a good fit. Now, I saw a lot of people on Twitter were mad because they're like, put respect on Miz's name.
yeah.
He's main evented WrestleMania, what, two-time WWE champion, so many time Intercontinental and United
Grand Slam,
States
like
and tag
two-time
team.
Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, exactly. So but Miz will, like he does from every loss, he'll recover from this and he could be booked strongly
Hmm.
a few months down the line. So yeah, kind of just a so-so match that served to confirm Logan in the chamber. And yeah, I think it was good.
Yeah, I mean, Logan's a great addition for the chamber match for sure. He's very athletic, and there's no telling what kind of spots he's gonna pull off when he's inside that chamber.
Yeah,
It'll
he's gonna have
it'll
some
be
sort
fun to
of
see.
yeah, some sort of
I
crazy
expect
spot.
him to do some kind of like dive or something like off the
Yeah,
pod, or
exactly.
he like climbs up to like to the very top of the chamber and just like falls on everybody or
That
something
was
like
like
that.
I remember Kalisto did that. I think it
Yeah.
was.
Hmm.
Yep. So I think he'll do a spot similar to that. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. After that, we had a women's qualifier match. Tiffany Stratton. She's really making a name for herself. She's been on the main roster for about 3 weeks now, and she's going to Australia. She defeated Zelina Vega.
Yeah, I mean it's like I said, I didn't get to watch any of SmackDown. Really all I saw after was the Bloodline segment, which obviously we'll get to. But I just saw that she ended up winning. Didn't really surprise
Hmm.
me, obviously, but I will say that Selena Vega, I have liked her in the past like year or so. I thought her at
Hmm.
when she was involved with LWO, they were at Puerto Rico. I think that was at Backlash, right? Um,
Yeah.
Seeing her now kind of just be lower down on the card, I thought was kind of so-so. But obviously, right now they're not going to make Tiffany Stratton lose just yet. So yeah, just another build-up match to cement, the participants in the chamber. So it was okay.
Yeah. There was some outside stuff going on with Santos Escobar and his crew. They ran down there, and then you had LWO go out there, fight them off, and I think it was Electra Lopez is her name. She kind of like got up on the apron, and Zelina Vega like pulled her into the ring and like hit her a few times, and that allowed Tiffany Stratton to capitalize and hit her picture perfect moonsault. Man, her moonsault is amazing.
I did not see it this week. I'll have to check that out. Yeah.
I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot better than the one she did 2 weeks ago on like Meechin, I think is her name. Yeah, but I mean, she
Mhm.
she hit this one pretty well, right on the spot.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we and also we had the next match was Naomi. She was facing what's her name? Alba Fire,
Yeah, Alba
and
Fire.
Naomi won. I mean, obviously we knew Naomi was gonna win. Uh,
Yeah.
it is nice seeing another addition to the roster. There were a few. I'm personally, I've never really been the biggest fan of Naomi, but still seeing her
hmm
get this shot and add and make the women's chamber more stacked. Yeah, like I've said
It is
with all
pretty
the other
stacked.
matches, they were all have all been pretty good decisions ultimately. None of them were
hmm
like, I think the other person should have won, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
She's
the women's chambers, it's looking good.
Yeah, yeah, and Naomi, I mean, she was what just in TNA, I think she was. She was the Impact
hmm
Women's Champion for a little bit. So seeing her go to WWE now, she has all this momentum. So they're just building off of it, getting her another
Yeah.
win, getting her
hmm
cemented or status cemented in WWE now.
Yeah, for sure. Good showing for Naomi. She defeated Alba Fire with a submission move, and it was a new submission move that she used, and it was pretty cool.
Oh,
I enjoyed the. I didn't get to see much of the match, but I did see the finish, and it was pretty good.
I
I'm
did
glad
not
that
see.
Naomi.
I didn't see the submission, but hopefully, oh, pray to God that means she's done with that god awful. What was that? She would just hit him
The
with her
rear
wrist,
end.
the rear end. Yes, that
Yes,
move
yeah.
was terrible. I mean, I get it, but yeah, she needed something different. I don't know what she
hmm
did in Impact. I don't know what her
I
finisher, her
think I think she
signature
still
move was.
used. I think she still used the rear end in TNA.
Yeah, I hope they change that. I
Yeah,
hope
because
it's
I,
not
I
like
yeah,
as
because I know
it,
she hit it a few times during the Rumble match.
like when she's especially when she was like the SmackDown Women's Champion back in I think it was 2017. She's
hmm
ending matches with that. Like what a garbage finish. So
Yeah, you're just hitting
hopefully that
somebody with your
submission is just
just
gonna
jumping
change it
up
up a
and
bit. Add more
yeah, I mean,
options.
yeah, you're just jumping up and hitting somebody with your butt, and that somehow puts somebody down for 3 seconds. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, hopefully they do get rid of that.
Yeah, I hope too. But with that, so those are all the qualifying matches for this week. So that means
hmm
that the men's elimination chamber match is official. So it is Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, LA Knight, Kevin Owens, and Logan Paul. So they will all compete at the chamber. The winner is going to be the number one contender for the World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know if that means they will face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania or if that, leading up to it or something. It really depends on what they do with the stuff with Rollins, Rhodes, Rock, and Reigns. But
hmm
it's looking like a good lineup. And then the women's match, like you said earlier, they have all of them confirmed except for one. So it's Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi. So far, that's also looking like a pretty stacked card. It really depends on how they book it at the actual chamber. They could still
hmm
not be very good matches, but the there's a lot of potential for them to to show out in both of these matches. Both of them are pretty good participants. Not many other people I could think that would make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would you want to see as the sixth participant in the women's chamber match?
I think for sure, so I don't know many, I can't think of many other women on the main roster right now, but the main person I'm thinking is Shayna Baszler. She didn't she lose a qualifier like I think it was last week or something like that? Uh,
Yeah, she
to
lost to
Becky.
Becky Lynch.
Yes,
Hmm.
yeah. So, I mean, obviously she wasn't gonna beat Becky, but it's just her booking now is such a far cry from what she was like. I think it was 2019 when she came out first and eliminated literally everybody and just one by one
Yeah.
beat them and then was waiting for the next person to come out. And now she's just losing qualifier matches. I mean, even like a year ago, like when she had that god awful match against Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam, she still, even though that the match itself was complete garbage and the fans hated it,
Hmm.
she still won the match, and it still showed that WWE was booking her to be the next like top MMA type star character. So
Hmm.
seeing her where she is now is a little. I think her winning the Battle Royal would be a good chance for her to make up for that and still add to her credibility.
Yeah, I think she'd be a good addition to the chamber match as well. I I really wanted to see Jade Cargill in this
Oh
match,
yeah, yep.
but there was reports. I saw some reports on Twitter over the week that apparently like creative has just completely scrapped her from all plans that they had for her for Elimination Chamber.
I wonder
So
why.
I'm not sure. I mean,
Huh.
I'm hoping they can figure something out with her. I mean, because what she signed with the company, I want to say like October is around that time when she signed, and
So blurry.
she hasn't done much. I mean, she's had a few backstage segments. She had a backstage segment last night, but I mean, she competed in the Royal Rumble, but besides that, she hasn't done much.
Yeah,
I'm
that
hoping they
makes me
can
wonder.
figure something out with her because I think she's got what it takes to be a top star in this company.
Yeah, and those are the two really. I mean, I guess there's how you say her name? Meechin?
Meechin.
Yeah, there's her, there's Valhalla, I guess.
Hmm.
There's what Maxine Dupree, but there's not many other. Really, the top two are going to be Jade and Shayna. So I hope that Shayna gets this win and gets in that sixth spot. But I could also definitely see Jade uh winning and getting into that spot.
I hope so. Hopefully something changes and they do add her to this match. But yeah, according to that report, they have they have no plans for the chamber. So
Yeah,
we'll have to
we'll
see.
see. Just reports. Yeah.
Yeah, that gets us to the big segment of the night.
Yeah.
It was Roman Reigns and The Rock. So Roman comes out first, and he does the Salt Lake City, acknowledge me, and he took a few shots at Cody and saying like this is all his fault, like this is why we're this is why we're doing all this, and then he introduces The Rock as a new member of the Bloodline. So I mean, if you thought
Yeah.
the Bloodline was stronger before, I mean,
And now
they're
they're
getting
adding The
stronger now.
Rock. Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought during this time it was just gonna be, I don't know, The Rock affiliated with him, like, still be associated by family. But this segment he actually was like a part of the bloodline. And
Hmm.
I thought that was surreal to see. So he came out and obviously the first thing you notice is that he had his like a gold Versace jacket on, or I guess it's just
Hmm.
a shirt, whatever it is.
Hmm.
But it was a throwback to he had a $500 shirt, or with inflation, now that would be like a what, probably $2,000 shirt or whatever.
Yeah,
But
probably.
back then they called it his $500 shirt, and that's what he used to come out with, all this drip when he was cutting his promos as a heel back in like 1998-ish or so, like when he was feuding with Mankind. And
Hmm.
so when he saw that, we all knew like, that Hollywood Rock or like late 1990 heel rock.
Early 2000.
Yeah, yeah, is coming back. And so
Hmm.
yeah, what he came out and he was basically saying, "Oh, like Utah set a record or whatnot." And I think people were obviously thinking like some sort of attendance record or something like
Like
that,
a
most
gay,
revenue,
like,
something. And then he
hmm
turned it around and he was like, what he said, beat the record for the largest number of inbred trash or whatever I've ever seen
oh,
in my
trailer park
life.
trash. Yeah.
Yes. So, he's kind of just talking his shit, just giving just definitely establishing himself as a heel. He was basically, yeah, just continuing to roast Salt Lake City. Uh and he was saying that like the fans like turned on him basically. Like this side of the Rock has always been there, but the fans, what they've done recently has brought out that side of him now, and he's
Hmm.
a different version of himself. And he went on to talk about Cody Rhodes, and basically, he continued that stuff he's been saying like on the Pat McAfee, or was it the Pat McAfee show where he started
Yeah.
talking
Hmm. Yeah.
about
Pat McAfee. So.
the Cody crybabies, and obviously just healing it up. Um,
Hmm.
but the one thing I did think was kind of interesting was that he was talking about how Cody is whining, like he lost last year's WrestleMania. Uh, Roman Reigns defeated him, and Roman Reigns is in the background, like, "Yep, I did that," making all these animations about how he whooped him, killed him. Uh, and he was saying that like all these people like that, what was it, the Jazz or whatever, some NBA team, when they lost, they got better and they came back later. And they said it for like the when the 49ers lost at this past Super Bowl too. And he was saying like comparing that to Cody Rhodes and saying that like he's not doing that, like he's just coming back demanding a title match. Like what story is there to finish because he lost it? I get that he's healing it up, like heels don't always make
Hmm.
sense or complete logic, but we're kind of just ignoring that like he won the Rumble. You should know how it works, Rock, Like he
Yeah.
won, he has a literal reason. He has to get a title shot. So it's not like he's like just whining and demanding a title shot. He has to. So I thought that was a little weird, but it didn't take away from the fact that it was a crazy segment.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd was giving it to The Rock, but because you're talking about all of that, The Rock saying like, why does he deserve this? I mean, I guess you could say the same for Rock. I mean, Rock's been gone for, he hasn't had a match since what was it, 2015, was it?
Well,
It was,
technically 2016 against Eric Rowan, but
oh yeah,
It,
2016. Mhm.
yeah, but his last actual match was what I think it was 2013, right, against Cena.
Or yeah, Cena,
Yeah,
at
last
WrestleMania 29.
actual match. Yeah.
I mean, Rock
Yeah.
kind of sounded like a hypocrite during this, talking about how Cody, he just can't come in and like say he wants this match. I mean, he he
Yeah.
won the Royal Rumble, and Rock's trying to come in and get him a match. I mean, you're basically, doing the same thing that you're claiming that Cody's doing. So,
Yeah,
I
he's just
mean,
coming
still,
in
I mean,
healing it up. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm not, like shitting on him or anything. I mean, it was a great promo. It was a great segment. Rock's, heel Rock is back, and I'm loving it so
Hollywood
far.
Rock. Yep.
Hmm. Because at first when The Rock came back, we were like, oh, really? because
Yeah.
we thought Cody wasn't going to finish his story, but now that we know that's out of the way and Heel Rock is back, I'm all for it.
Yeah, they pivoted their choice to I thought they were just gonna do a I'm glad they didn't do what they did with Batista in 2014 because when Batista
Hmm.
got booed, it was clear that the fans weren't behind him. They still continued booking him as a face going into I remember at that year's Chamber, like 2014 Elimination Chamber, he faced Alberto Del Rio. He was still a face and the fans completely ruined that match because they were chanting about how like Bautista, how they hated him. They actually started chanting for Del Rio during that match. At that
Yeah.
time they were doing CM Punk chants still. Uh, so I feel like The Rock would have faced that same fate if they continued booking him as a face going into this. And I'm so glad they pivoted. I mean, I assume that The Rock made this decision. It allows him to not express, but like allows him to be more creative, show that he has more versatility than just this face cater to the fans and whatnot. He still has that heel side in him. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think it was a great decision. They fully dove it into the heel Rock character now. It's not just like we think he's heel. He's sort of heel, but still acting like a face. Now he's just a flat out heel.
Hmm. One thing that stood out to me about this promo was, The Rock said he's going to try to use everything in his power to make sure that, well, we think he's talking about Cody here. He said that he's going to try to use everything in his power to make sure that you walk out of WrestleMania a loser. And I didn't notice this when I was watching it live, but there's a bunch of people on Twitter that pointed out that whenever The Rock said that, he was pointing at Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
So,
Making subtle gestures. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if, The Rock's playing double agent here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I saw a lot of people saying that, yeah, he could be on Reigns' side leading up to WrestleMania, and then, yeah, he turns on him. Turns out he was with Rhodes all along, and that's how the story could end. But at the same time, it does. I was watching this. Like I watch a lot of wrestling YouTubers. A lot of them are covering this right now. Shout out to
Hmm.
Kicking It with Ross. That was basically the one I've been or person I've been watching for a lot of these updates. And he gave the his view on this that basically there's a very good chance that Cody Rhodes could just flat out lose because if it's true that this plan was a pivot, that means that the insinuation is that their original plan with Rock and Reigns, obviously Reigns was going to retain if this happened. So if they're pivoting, they had future plans set up for Reigns. So I wonder if they would throw that all away because of this pivot to Rhodes versus Reigns, you know? Like
Hmm.
would they would have to pivot the future plans as well after. And even if Cody wins, what are then what? Is he just gonna feud with like Damian Priest for a few months or something? Because we all know if he does beat Reigns, he's probably not gonna wrestle at like the pay-per-view. He's probably not gonna be wrestling at Backlash or anything like that. So yeah, it makes me wonder what they're gonna be doing, especially now that The Rock's in it. And yeah, he could just be pulling a fast one, playing both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about maybe, because maybe The Rock is just playing with Roman Reigns here, and maybe he turns on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and that allows Cody Rhodes to finish his story. Because I feel like at this point, if they're not doing Roman and Brock this year at WrestleMania, you can do it for next year.
Yes.
You could
Hmm.
have, I mean, you could have this whole year to build onto that. I mean, and you're talking about who Cody could face if he does win the title. I mean, I know, I think they're going to do another like draft or superstar shakeup. Like, I know they
Hmm.
usually do one like right after WrestleMania. So, I mean, you could see him like feud with Randy Orton some, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he could. It just, regardless of what happens, though, it is this year's WrestleMania. I mean, we've said this now every single week. I enjoy as a fan watching it from a fan's perspective. It is so great seeing how unpredictable it is. There's just
Hmm.
so many different options, so many different ways to go about this, and I hope they choose the right paths, but there's so many. It's so open to interpretation right now and different,
Yeah,
theories, possibilities to book this.
I'm loving it. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, there's just, I mean, I don't know what they could do. I mean, this is honestly, I would say this is probably the most I've enjoyed a road to WrestleMania in quite some time, honestly. With just
Yeah, yeah,
with how crazy it's been so far, how unpredictable everything is. I mean,
yeah,
it's a fun
yeah. And
ride.
and that wasn't even, I mean, we've talked about the majority of the promo, but it also ends with so The Rock was finishing with his final stuff, the if you smell like his closing promo lines, and he stopped because the fans were joining in, and he's like,
Hmm.
what did he say? Like, you guys have made your decision, like sing along with The Rock is over. And he told the
Yeah.
fans to shut up. Basically exactly what he did with when he was Hollywood Rock. And instead of saying if you smell what the Rock is cooking, he said if you smell what the bloodline is cooking. So it really just cemented him the fact that yeah, he's now as going into WrestleMania, he's going to be considered a member of the bloodline. And obviously a little they were all throwing up their ones, The Rock
Hmm.
was throwing up an L. He wasn't even
I,
throwing up
I
ones.
know. I didn't even.
That was a
I
little.
was like, "What are you doing?" I mean, you realize it's one. It's not this. So
Yeah, I saw a lot of
I
people
don't
talk
know.
about that. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, that was a little thing though. Like the segment overall though was great, and with what they had to work with this segment, they did as much as they could to continue to develop this story going into WrestleMania. Now establishing that The Rock is officially a heel makes it so much more interesting because
hmm
that adds so much more. It's not going to be just the typical Rock stuff where the heel comes out, makes all these points, and then he comes out and is like fruity pebble jabroni or whatever, and then does his
Yeah,
typical shtick, beats him up, and then if you smell, now he's gonna be there's a whole different element of him that we haven't seen in what at this point 21 years. That's
yeah,
crazy to say, but yeah, 21 years. And yeah, I think this is opens up a lot of possibilities for how they could book the road to WrestleMania even better, for sure.
yeah, yeah, for sure. You are absolutely right. It's just crazy, crazy time we're in right now. And
Yes,
it's
it
only going to get
is.
crazier. It's only going to get crazier.
I
Uh,
don't think
that's
there's much. I mean, that right just about covers it for SmackDown.
yeah.
I don't think anything has been confirmed yet for SmackDown. Usually, with how they work, they do like there's a week where all this crazy stuff happens, and then next week is like the cool down. Like there is a main event, that's kind of hype, but it's not anything like this. And then the week after is when they do the Roman Reigns returns, The Rock
Hmm.
returns, crazy
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that.
I'm pretty sure we'll see that like the Monday right after Elimination Chamber. Oh, Rock and Roman Reigns return.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if next week will be as crazy, but yeah, I guess we'll see. We'll obviously still be covering any sort of the news, but yeah, yeah, we're in for
Yeah,
a
and also,
impactful road to WrestleMania.
I know SmackDown's actually going to be taped next week. I know they taped it last night. following Smack the when they went off the air since they're in Australia next Saturday.
They taped, so SmackDown has already from for next week has already happened?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Huh. I didn't even see that. So how in the world would that work? So that means whoever went there got to see two SmackDowns? So that crowd
Yeah.
is gonna be terrible next week. They're
Well,
gonna be so drained
it
out.
wasn't. It wasn't Utah, and like Utah's like like 2 hours ahead.
Yeah,
So
but imagine watching a 4 week SmackDown. Even at WrestleMania, they're like drained out at the end of this show, you know? During a
yeah,
SmackDown. That means Rock was the mid card for them technically. So the actual main
yeah.
event is gonna be, they're
What
gonna what
I haven't seen any spoilers yet. I'm gonna try to stay away from them as much as I
yeah.
can, but that's gonna be hard.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I have a feeling it'll be spoiled for me eventually. I have a feeling that
Hmm.
nothing that crazy happened because I would have already seen it if it did happen.
Yeah,
I remember 2017 when like AJ Styles beat Jinder Mahal for the WWE title.
yeah,
That
I
was a
remember that.
taped SmackDown. I do remember seeing that in advance. So I don't think any crazy events happened because yeah, like I said, I would have already seen it at this point. I didn't even
Hmm.
know it aired. So yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm gonna try not to look, but you know, sometimes curiosity gets the best of me.
Yeah. Oh, I want to. I don't think we covered this, but there's a Nick Aldis signed a
Oh,
new free
yeah.
agent to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Braun Breaker is
Yeah.
officially on the SmackDown brand, and if you thought that roster wasn't stacked before, my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like maybe him going to Raw would have been the better decision, just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
there's
that's
way
what.
more time to fill, and I don't know. I'd have to look at the roster side by side to determine which one's better. But yeah, I don't know. But that hopefully that means they have plans for Braun Breaker. Hopefully it's not just he faces jobbers for a few weeks and then like has some insignificant feud. Knowing how WWE does this, I'm trying to think. No, I guess Raw. Maybe I wonder what they'll do because I was thinking usually whenever they have like nothing to do with a superstar, they'll make him feud with Miz and then he ends up beating him and then they move on
Yeah,
and they kind of just don't have any solid plans after. But I guess Miz is on Raw, so I don't know who they'll make him face, but
yeah.
there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, I would have liked them. I would have liked to seen him go to like Raw. Maybe I would have loved to seen a feud with him and Gunther going into WrestleMania.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, the U.S. champion Logan Paul, I don't see him facing Logan. I don't think
Mm-mm.
so, at least. Um, yeah, but they could always pivot to that later. Maybe they could do that at SummerSlam or something like that. It is great to see him on the main roster, though. And given that nothing goes wrong with him, like injury or any personal issues, Braun Breaker could very well be one of the biggest pieces to the future of WWE. I could definitely see him winning a world title or two. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it's great seeing him go from NXT to the main roster now.
Yeah, I know he's currently a NXT Tag Team Champion right
Yep.
now.
With
So
Baron Corbin.
I'm sure. Yeah, so I know there's some things you got to finish up down there, but once he finishes everything up in NXT, he will be official member of the SmackDown brand.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you remembered that because, yeah, that's a pretty big
Yeah,
aspect.
I just about forgot about it.
Yeah.
I think that'll do it for this episode. Now we're doing these on Saturdays now,
hmm
but since the Elimination Chamber is it starts at like 4 o'clock in the morning for us, we want to do
Yeah.
a prediction podcast. So we'll try to get that out maybe middle of the week or kind of like we did for our first episode. But I know we plan on doing a podcast following the Elimination Chamber.
Yep.
So.
Yep, and
And
that's right.
also, we're no, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, I was just saying that, yeah, whenever we will record after that, hopefully I will be up in time to see that. That is very early in the morning. But even if I don't
Hmm.
see the initial matches, I assume the main event's going to be the men's chamber. So I'll at least be able to see that and we can just give our reviews, give what we thought about the matches.
Yeah. And we're also going to try to be able to get, we're going to try to get this on YouTube. I know for the first four, we've had them on Spotify, but we're doing this right here. So hopefully we can get it on YouTube. So, and make sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube and follow and share it. Be a friend, tell a friend.
Yep, yep. We enjoy all the interactions we can get. We're going to be starting up this channel, trying to grow it, maybe add more stuff than just podcasts if it ramps up to that. And
Hmm.
yeah, every like, every subscription, right now it matters 100%.
It definitely does. But I think that'll do it for this episode. Anything else you want to add or say?
Nope, that's about it. We've covered just about everything. I look forward to next week though, for sure.
I do too. We have to be make sure you set all your alarms. Make sure you set
Yes,
about
I'm
10
gonna
of them.
try and go to bed earlier too.
Yeah,
Yep.
I am too. We'll see.
All
All right,
right.
but that'll do it. We'll see you guys next week on the Wrestling City Podcast.